Hey girl, hey, welcome to my channel. If you are new, hi baby, I am Fancy. It is so nice to have you. If you are returning, welcome back for another girls chat. Now ladies, I will be doing a very fancy story time this Friday, so don't worry. I know you girls are here for the story times, but I did want to put y'all on. I want to make sure I have you girls caught up, especially if you have not been in our Patreon. In this girls chat, I wanted to discuss three different types of wealthy, affluent people, specifically men, so you girls can know what you're doing. A lot of times I hear, Fancy, I'm not meeting these guys. Where are you coming across these potentials? How can I build my roster? I'm not running into these wealthy groups of people. And it's because, babe, let's be real. You're not doing your research and you think you can continue your everyday life and just fall into these groups of people. And that's not how it is. All wealthy people are not the same. You're not going to be able to run into them in the same manner, and you're not going to be able to converse to spark their interest. You're not going to be able to hold a conversation with them. You're not going to be able to stay on their mind if you haven't done your research on these types of people. So if you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the Snob Mob. If you want to sit pretty, get paid, and live a privileged lifestyle through Christ, then subscribe to the channel, boo. What are you waiting for, boo? Because we over here getting paid. If you did not watch the 4 layers of class that I did put you girls on, please do click the card above. I do believe that these videos go hand in hand, especially for those girls who are struggling out there in the streets, because the main issue shouldn't be finding these people. If you're having a hard time with that, you're going to have a terrible time with maintaining these relationships. Ladies, this is going to be a quick video. I have some place to be, but I did want to get this video recorded because the last video, it was very last minute because of everything that was going on last week. So I wanted to make sure I have plenty enough time to edit, add in anything that I may have forgot or did not say or cover. Let's get into this girl chat. Now, regardless if you believe it or not, you will turn out to be just like the people who you surround yourself with. So if you're from the hood, nothing is wrong with that. You do not have to fulfill the stereotype of being a product of your environment. You can definitely want better, strive better. And if truly that's something that you want for your life, you can obtain better. If you are not familiar with these types of people, you weren't raised in these neighborhoods, you weren't raised in these schools, you did not go to college with these types of people, it's very important to identify who your target is, how they act, where they are, and you need to put yourself, immerse yourself in these situations. Because naturally, if you're used to honking your horn and yelling out the window, flicking people off, cursing when someone in a grocery store runs over your ankle, if you're used to being rude to servers and just being nasty or talking loud, or if you've caught yourself looking at people staring at you as you're in the grocery store, cackling it up with a girlfriend, then that means that your natural habits and tendencies are a reflection of who you are and where you come from. Some people say, well, I don't care, forget them, mind your business. And that's fine and well until you are paying your own bills, until you have to invest into your own business, until you are having to pick up a second job, because any and every man that you're dealing with is a reflection of you and you're reflecting ghetto. Just be mindful that if you are not already surrounded by wealthy people, you need to put yourself in these situations so you can get comfortable with conducting yourself in a way that's familiar with these types of people. So in other words, the rich can make you rich just by being around them. So we have covered many things in the Patreon, and we have definitely covered these groups of people. Now, I only wanted to include 3 on this video. There are a lot more. I believe like there's 6 or 7 specifically that we covered in the Patreon. There may be a bit more, but again, I don't want to spill too much tea. I do want to put you girls on, but if, again, like the layers of class, if you are wanting any additional information, then please feel free to join the Patreon, girl. I have multiple tiers to cater to exactly where you are in your journey, what you may need, or how much assistance or how little assistance you may or may not need. So I have everyone between newbies and pros. Like, girl, we get those bags, okay? So don't feel like you're going to be left out. So the first category of people are the old money pedigree. And in the old money pedigree, these people come from money. When I say 4+ generations of wealth, of affluence, these people tend to live by the saying, if it takes a designer's label to be on my clothing for someone to know how expensive it is, that means the quality of my outfit isn't all of that. So these people, from that quote alone, you can tell that they do not wear logos on their clothing. They consider it very tacky, very ghetto, and the equivalent of having a price tag still attached to the sleeve of your shirt is how they view people who wear logos, whether it's Gucci, whether it's Prada, whether it's Louis Vuitton, regardless what the logo is, they don't believe in glossing or flexing brands. These people also travel often. Culture is part of their lifestyle. In the summertime, you can catch them in a foreign country, immersed in a foreign culture, because that is how important learning languages, learning the customs, and being very diverse, doing things that the average American or the average citizen in any country can't do. Like, there are people that live in the UK that can't just come to the US for 2 months out of the year just to see how we live. Or, there's people who are in Jamaica that can't just go to Canada for 2 months and just see how they live. So when it comes to the affluent people, they tend to travel. And it's not a week or 2 weeks. It's months at a time. So you can catch them in the summertime in another country in luxury resorts. You can catch them in the wintertime at ski resorts. You can catch their children being tutored by the top of the top lacrosse, golf, tennis. These people are so rich that they only want the best of the best. They have people who come to their home to teach their child not only how to read music, how to play music, but how to compose music. These people do not play when it comes to etiquette. They don't play when it comes to their presentation, and they don't play when it comes to appearance. Now, they do dress per season. And every season they may add in a piece or two that may be new, and then they rotate it for the next incoming season. And the only time they typically get rid of a piece, especially a staple piece, is when it's no longer repairable. So they live by the rule, if it ain't broke, why fix it? Now, as far as logos and things like that, the only symbols that you would typically see on their clothing are their initials, like on a man's cufflink or his suitcase or his lapel. These people usually have ancestral mansions. When I say 20 bedrooms plus, typically these mansions are furnished with very, very old and ancient finishes, from the drapes to the luxurious rugs to the furniture to, all the accessories. Everything in that home is typically really, really antique. In addition to that, they don't technically live there, even though they get their mail there, even though their driver's license may state that they live there. They typically live in a nice, modern, upscale townhouse in the city to accommodate their social needs. These people take socializing in their circles very seriously. Their children usually go to the top private boarding schools. The children usually have nannies. They hire help when it comes to keeping the house. They have drivers. They have people who maintenance the yard. They have people who run errands. Because this family's name holds so much weight, it is very important that they not only protect their image, protect their name, but they continue their legacy and they continue to push out their name by the things that they do, the way that they carry themselves. They're very, very humble. They don't like to be offensive. They don't feel the need to impress others. And they are all about charities, regardless if it's a passion for charities or if it's to evade paying taxes. They typically are philanthropists, and they are going to be standing up, doing fundraisers, investing, donating large lump sums of money to specific organizations when it comes to children, when it comes to finding cures, when it comes to the environment and things like that. These people are serious when it comes to charities. Also, because of their name and who they are, you will catch them at red carpet events. They won't miss an opening night. They have to be seen when the mayor's cutting the ribbon. They have to be seen on opening night of a ballet. They have to be seen when it comes to an auction of specific, exquisite, rare artifacts. At a very early age, they are aware how sacred their name is and how important it is for them to preserve their traditions, from having discreet relationships, not really being in scandalous situations, especially when it comes to being in the paper, being on the news, being out in public. The old money pedigree, those guys, they go to private schools, private universities, the top of the top of the top of the top Ivy League schools. When I told you on the layers of class how one of the layers is education, this is going to confirm this. It should be your confirmation. Their activities, they're into car auctions, especially when it comes to antique vehicles. They'll drive a car for like 8 years. And the only reason that they would probably switch up is because of environmental purposes. Now, let's say that they have a Bentley. They're not going to have a new Bentley, and they're not going to have a new Bentley not because they can't afford a new Bentley, but because they don't feel the need as to having to have a Bentley to show who they are. You know who they are by their name. And so if they do have a Bentley, it's going to be an old antique Bentley, and it's going to be an old antique Bentley because it was passed down generations within the family, and because their family was one of the first families that could even afford the first original model of a Bentley. So on to our second group of people. Now, ladies, as I am going over the differences and the highlights of each group of families. Now, there are always exceptions to the rules. You can't say that all middle class people are like this, or all upper class people are like this, or all people who live in a rich area in Jersey act like this, or all people in Beverly Hills act like this, or all affluent people in this part of the world of this ethnicity behaves or carries themselves like this. But when it comes to certain social classes, when you get to money, when it gets to a certain tax bracket that's almost unlimited, these people tend to have specific characteristics about them. Now, regardless if you believe it or not, I do believe that outside of money, just like outside of beauty, it's important to know what else is it going to take to make you happy, because money is not the answer to everything. There's so many people who have so much money and their life is miserable. So as we are on this journey, I want to kind of shed light that is so much more to people in general. Now, when it comes to the status new rich, like the name says, that's new money. These are self-made millionaires. Typically, these people come from humble beginnings. They come from poverty. They come from middle class. They come from your everyday people. And because of the money that they come into as adults, whether it's self-made from a career that they chose, whether it's an investment that they made, whether it was a business deal that they had, they came into money and now they are the first generation of wealth. Now, these people, they are very flashy because they earned it, because they started at the bottom. Now they here. Okay, they are going to flaunt what they have. They are going to have the Gucci sweatband in the gym. They're going to have designer this, designer that. They're going to have a designer bag with a different designer shoe, with a different, which that is another layer of class. Mixing and matching designer is very tacky, baby. It is very tacky. But these people, they don't care about tacky. They can afford it and they ain't tripping. They drive the nicest cars, the newest vehicles. They spend money I'm not going to say they spend money recklessly because they do have a fear of going back to being poor. So one of their main things is to get married early. And they get married early because they understand that multiple incomes is better than one and is a less likely chance of them reverting back to where they originally came from, which is poverty. Typically, these people were raised in public schools, and by the time they're getting to high school, they're noticing that some of the wealthier kids within their schools are going to private universities. They're going to Ivy Leagues, and the only way to get into these schools is to either have exceptional grades and referrals or to be able to have that fat bankroll, your daddy's paycheck. Because their daddy doesn't have it like that, they take schooling seriously and they pick a career that they know is going to bring them out of where they've come from. So they study super hard and they also go to these elite prestigious schools on scholarships. And while they are there, they make sure that they are studying very hard to keep those scholarships. Once they get their degree, now these are attorneys, these are surgeons, these are CEOs of businesses and things like that. If they're going the business route, they tend to network. They understand the importance of having wealthy people on your team because they don't come from old money. They don't have the backup plan that if their business idea doesn't work, or if this business loan that they get to start up their business, if it wasn't a good idea and it's gone, they don't have a backup saying, hey dad, can you pay this loan off for me? Or hey dad, I need a little bit more money. I know I just borrowed a couple of $100,000 from you, but I just need a couple of hundred more. They have to be very strategic with their strategy, and they understand how important it is to network. And they typically get married in college. And if for whatever reason you come across one who is widowed and their spouse passed away, unfortunately, or they're somehow single, these people can be a bit frugal. They don't believe in spending on unnecessary things that depreciate in value, unless it's something for themselves. Now, they feel like they worked hard for it and they earned it. These people can be a bit stingy, but when it comes to the lifestyle, they're a bit more modern. They like more contemporary living. They want the Lambos. They want the Maseratis. They want all the glitz and the glam, and they want the nicest of the nice. So, oh, I've had this car for 3 months. Let me, turn it in for a different one. So there's going to be pros and cons with everybody. Nobody's going to be perfect. Everybody's going to have their flaws, but you have to know what works for you, because going into something wanting to change somebody, that's going to be a waste of your time and theirs. Just like they're identifying that you're a beautiful girl, but they want to change you into a woman who's independent, who doesn't require much from a man. That's going to be a waste of their time. So, and it's going to be not likely. So I never want you girls to be in a situation where you are wasting your time. So when it comes to new money, they are very big in charities because they have to be. Now, unlike the old pedigree money, those are their groups of people. They grew up with those people. Their children grew up with those people. Their great great sir grandfather the fifth grew up with your great 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 sir grandfather the seventh. Like, because y'all are old family friends and y'all are all of money, those are the things that you engage into, the galas and the parties and the things like this. The new rich money, they don't have connections like that. They don't have a name. Nobody knows them, and they know that they have to pay their way into these social groups. Since they don't have a family that can financially support them if they fall or if they need something, then they need to have a group of friends that will be like, oh yeah, I believe in you, girl. That's no problem. I can write you a check for $200,000. That's no big deal. My husband's, I don't even have to ask him. It's under the budget that he gave me to need to ask his permission for it. Like, to have friends, they understand how important that is. And so they have to buy their way into these groups of people. So when it comes to charity events and donations, they have to make large donations when it comes to these events so they can be respected, so they can put their name out there, so people can start inviting them to parties like, oh, I wonder who they are. You know what? That is our neighbor, and I didn't know that she was a doctor, or I didn't know he was a surgeon, or I didn't know that they owns land properties in Belgium. Whatever the case may be, they have to prove themselves worthy of being in these groups. So when it comes to these charity events, these art events, these fundraisers, they have to really show up and show out, because they understand how important having these groups of friends are. When it comes to seasons, they dress per season also. Typically within that season, they will get new clothes so let's just say they're dressing for fall. So this fall, they'll have nothing but new fall clothes. And at the end of fall, they will donate all of their clothes to the charity, just so the following fall, they'll get all new clothes for that season too. Unlike Pedigree Rich, who comes from old money, they don't really, they will shop and add a new piece or two, but typically they have staple pieces and they reuse them all the time. So again, old money doesn't feel the need to prove anything to anyone. And the new money, they haven't been able to live this lifestyle. They're not used to this lifestyle, so they're still splurging on what they feel like is necessary. So typically from them, they might invest, if they love you, into school, into a business, into things like that. But when it comes to surgeries, when it comes to brand new expensive cars paid in cash, not likely. But again, it really depends on the person, and you really have to find out who has a weakness for you, or who may not really mess with you like that. Everybody is going to have a preference. Everybody is not going to be able to finesse everybody, and everybody is not going to be able to attract everybody. Know who's attracted to you. Know who has a weakness for your look, for your aesthetic, for your vibe, for your personality, from your language. You have to know these things, and the only way to know these things is getting out there and again, immersing yourself in these different types of cultures. The wealthy immerse themselves in foreign cultures. And if you want to be a part of the wealthy, like in this new rich, you have to immerse yourself with other rich, wealthy people. The third and final group of affluent people I'll get into on this video is the Rollercoaster Ridge. When it comes to the Rollercoaster Ridge, just like the name, it goes up and down, up and down. These people typically come from money, but because they are not financially responsible, because they are very impulsive, they run through hundreds of millions of dollars of their family money. They end up burning bridges when it comes to family members, when it comes to family friends that have money, because of the loans that they borrow from them when they are at their lowest of the low, because of the irresponsible financial decisions that they make. Now, because these people do come from money, they typically go to really, really nice schools. They also find it important to go to private elite Ivy League universities to study. Now, their education turns out to one or two ways. They end up dropping out from partying and having a good time and not really taking things serious and saying, I can live off my family's money. Or they just get a BS degree in whatever just to make their family happy. But because of them being so impulsive when it comes to business ideas and just jumping into things without planning and doing the research and stuff, they make a lot of bad decisions. These people can be quite generous because they're not financially responsible. So baby, you can catch them at the high rollers table in Vegas. Yes, ma'am. And they will give you money. They lend out money and saying, no reason to pay me back. No need. Do you know who I am? Not knowing that one weekend you're going to see them in the high rollers room in Vegas, at the Wynn, at the Venetian, at the Cosmo. And then the next weekend you're going to see them at a gas station with a cardboard sign saying, can I get a ride to the next city? These people, because of their tendencies to be very sporadic, they lose relationships when it comes to family relationships, friend relationships, romantic relationships. And I don't want to speak this over them, but they tend to be in and out of marriages, in and out of relationships, because finances are very, very important when it comes to a successful relationship, business wise, romantic, or anything. These people are wild cards. They dress how they want to dress, typically jeans, a button down. They will pull out a tux. Again, they come from money, so they do know how important it is to be at these social parties and events and openings of things and things like that. So they do know how to dress, but they don't really dress for season. They dress for how they feel and how and for the temperature, how cold it is. They'll put a jacket on or whatever the case may be. They're not as traditional. In addition to that, they known to have motorcycles. They'll have new cars and stuff like that, but in between repos and crashing vehicles and all of the totaling out vehicles and all of the things that they indulge into, you can catch them on a motorcycle. You can catch them in a pickup, a nice pickup truck, for the time being of having a vehicle and not couch surfing. They don't typically own property in their name. Their property is typically in their family's name. They are usually trust fund babies. They have money available to them because of certain milestones, whether it's an age, whether it's a degree, whether it's getting married. Regardless of the fact, they come into money and they go out of money. So hence the roller coaster name. They are going to live a faster life, a wilder life, and they will and can be generous, but not stable. So, ladies, I just wanted to elaborate on 3 different types of rich people. They are multiple. When I say multiple, there are many that we have learned about. And again, in our Patreon, we have done research. We have read the books. We have been online. We have really broke down a lot. And when I tell you, I've learned a lot. And so I just wanted to share some of the things that we have been going over because I know it can truly help you ladies. Now, from the old money, where you would find a person like that, maybe at an antique auction, you're not going to find the Rollercoaster Ridge person at that auction. You're going to find him in Vegas. The new money, you're not going to find him at an antique car auction, nor you're going to find him in Vegas because he's not willing to risk the money that he worked so hard at. You're going to see him making investments. You're going to see him at charity events, trying to socialize and network with other people. And then the way you approach the idea of being approachable to these types of men and holding conversations and presenting them with the idea of an arrangement obviously will all be different. But I will say I did notice some similarities, and a lot of the similarities, regardless if they were born rich or not, was the education, was the etiquette, was the social networking with other wealthy people. Now, I did notice those things. So, ladies, if you're just going to a bar and sitting at a bar looking for a guy to buy you a drink, baby, that is like, that's really not gonna do it. That might get your bills paid for a month or two, but it's truly not going to change your life when it comes to getting into these wealthy circles. So if you need some freestyle tips and ideas, if you're trying to get put on what we are doing, join the Patreon. I'm tired of telling y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all every video. Because I love you. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't mention it. So I hope this video helped. I hope you enjoyed it. I wanted to make it short and sweet, not only because I didn't want to take days editing, but because I have things to do. And I just wanted you girls to get something of substance quickly and know that it's so much more to this journey. And you're worth it. So pour into yourself the knowledge, take advantage of the resources, and identify exactly what is for you so you know how to go about it. So please do like this video and do share. We're putting all of our girls on. And when we as a whole do better, strive for more, then it becomes easier and it becomes the standard when these men wake up and see, I'm not going to be able to get away with the BS with her. I'm not going to be able to get away with the time wasting when it comes to her. And I'm not going to be able to finesse her. So we're trying to all get put on so we can all have better results. So definitely share this video, book your one-on-one coaching so I can assist you on your journey. And I love you girls, and I will do a story time for you on Friday. Now, again, my Fridays are so busy that I can only promise a Friday upload. I can't promise the time because at this point, listen, we have so much going on in the Patreon. We have so much going on one-on-one coaching calls, have so much going on Sugar Baby Shadows. We have so much going on when it comes to recording, editing these videos, living my life, being a mom, and I'm out here dating. Baby, I'm out here living my life. So please do be patient with me. I've really been immersed in these YouTube streets since school started back, and the start of school in itself is a lot. So since school started back for my son, and that's a lot. Okay, but not to mention football and traveling and everything else. So I do appreciate you girls being patient. I appreciate you girls supporting me. I appreciate all the love and the warm wishes and absolutely everything. I'm so grateful for you girls, and I love you so much. You have an amazing week. And I will talk to my Patreon girls on our live finesse chat on Wednesday. And I will talk to the rest of you ladies on Friday. And if you missed our second Bible study where we covered Ruth chapter 2, and we got into some more amazing discussions, you missed out. Girl, it was a blast. I have so much fun chatting with you girls, and especially the women who are striving to work on their relationship with Christ. It just means absolutely everything to me. And I'm so blessed to be a part of your journey. I'm so blessed to have you girls be a part of my journey. And definitely consider joining. Even if you don't join for the finesse portion, I have a tier just for the Bible study, and it's very, very reasonable. So definitely do consider. I love you girls so much, and I will see you in the next upload. And make sure you have that notification bell turned on so you don't miss. So yeah, I love you so much. Have a great week. Bye-bye.